So on July 4th, 1984, the American police were in a small town called Northport in the US. They had police dogs with them. There was a forest in this town, and the dogs were standing inside it, barking. The dogs were picking up a strange, bad smell coming from there. The police were sure something was up. And then what they found there completely blew their minds. There was a dead body, and it was in a terrible state. The bones of the body were broken in half. The whole blood had drained out. The body had sunk into the ground. Bugs had eaten up a large part of it. The face of this corpse wasn't visible either. Friends, some clothes were also found near the body. The police's first job was to find out whose body this was and what had happened to that person. So the police started questioning the local people there. Many people were brought to the forest and shown where the body was found. But no one knew anything about this dead body. Even if someone did, nobody was telling the police. Then the police got a call. It was from a girl. Friends, she didn't give her name, but she did say that she knew something about the body. The police found out that the body was of a 17-year-old boy. His name was Gary Lauwers. Gary used to go to high school but had dropped out. He used to run away from home all the time. Gary had taken a wrong path. Getting high, stealing that, became Gary L's life. But now the next question was, what actually happened to Gary? How did he die, and why was his body lying out in this forest? To find out this story, we need to know about another boy, Ricky Kasso. Ricky was Gary's friend. Guys, Ricky lived in the same village, Northport. He was a teacher's son and had 3 sisters, just a normal family. But Ricky didn't get along with his family. Actually, the guy had fallen in with the wrong crowd. He'd become hooked on drugs. He'd only go home once or twice a month, and the rest of the time he'd be out on the streets. Sometimes he'd crash in a forest, sometimes at a camp, other times in a garage, or spend the night at a friend's place. Ricky was seriously addicted to drugs. It was obvious that to feed his habit, Ricky needed money. He needed money, and besides getting high, he also sold drugs, using that money to buy drugs for himself. Friends, once a person gets involved in bad stuff, there's no end to it. One bad thing forces them to do another bad thing. That's exactly what was happening with Ricky. This guy used to tell his friends that he considered himself a devil and liked worshiping the devil. His mental state had gotten so bad that one time he actually dug up a grave in a cemetery. He got caught. They admitted him to a psychiatric hospital, but later he was released because the doctors said Ricky wasn't actually crazy. His friends, who used to do drugs with him, told the police that he often used to go to the nearby forest and scream there to please the devil. Ricky used to tell them that he talked to the devil in that forest. He used to say that the devil he would step out from behind the tree and talk with the devil for hours. He often ended up going to some cemetery, getting high, and passing out there. He said this story is really heartbreaking. Gary, the guy whose dead body was found in the forest, and Ricky became friends. They both used to do drugs, and this bad habit brought them together. But Gary was really scared of Ricky. Actually, once they were at a party, both drunk. Gary had stolen some drug packets from Ricky's jacket. Ricky found out later. Gary returned the packets to him. But ever since then, Ricky started beating up Gary. Gary was so scared that he kept his distance from Ricky. But they were all stuck deep in the drug mess. Every couple of days, they'd run into each other because of their drug habits. Ricky would threaten him, beat him up. But guys, one night it all came to an end. Gary was brutally murdered. It was the night of June 19th, 1984. Ricky was with his 2 friends Jamie and Albert near the woods by Northport Village. Ricky and his 2 friends had come there. They set up camp. They decided to spend the night right there. Their plan was to do drugs at that spot, and just then, Ricky saw Gary heading somewhere. Ricky told Gary, "Why don't you camp out here with us tonight?" Gary knew Ricky would beat him up sometimes, and spending the night with him here wasn't exactly safe. But because of his addiction, Gary agreed to go along with Ricky. The 4 of them started getting high in this deserted forest. Guys, they tried to start a fire here, but it had rained a little while ago, so the wood was wet and the fire wouldn't catch. They were all just sitting around when suddenly Ricky started talking to Gary about the devil. He told Gary to say that he loves the devil. Gary flat out refused. Ricky then started pressuring him, saying he had to say that he loves the devil. Gary was still refusing when their fight broke out. The guy never stayed at home. That's why his family never really tried to find out about him. Maybe the police wouldn't have found him either, but they quickly arrested Ricky and the other 2 guys. So, here's what happened. Ricky did kill Gary, but then he started talking about the murder with his friends. He told them something really weird. He said he killed Gary because the devil told him to. He said, on July 4th, 1984, the police got a tip that something had happened in this forest, so they came here with their dogs. That's when they found Gary's body in a terrible condition. The police quickly arrested Ricky. At first, the other guys and girls who used to do drugs with Ricky didn't tell the police anything against him, but then a girl called the police and revealed the real story. Ricky, using the excuse of being possessed by the devil, had brutally murdered his own friend Gary right there in the middle of the forest. He blamed the whole thing on the devil, saying the devil told him to kill Gary because Gary didn't listen to him. The police also arrested the two boys who were there at the time of the murder, but later they took their own lives in jail. Guys, this strange case became pretty famous back then. One boy used the devil as an excuse to kill his friend. There were even several documentaries made about it, like The Devil Worshippers. It was a TV show, and a lot of movies were made based on this story too.